Hello, welcome students. I hope you're doing great. So welcome back with another video, and this video is let's say about a very famous topic that we have been covering in our classroom probably, let's say, every day. This is something that we use every day in many different types of conversations, in multiple kind of discourse. Though I'm making this video for my grade 7 students, but yet this video can be used by grade 6, grade 8, or no matter whatever your educational level is at the moment. Of course, university students can also use that, and the people who are actually learning a normal general spoken English. So this could be definitely beneficial for all the levels, because given the gravity of this topic, it's very general. So we are actually talking about connectives, we're talking about discourse markers, we're talking about conjunctions, and about all these three different topics, I've actually made a separate video probably a year ago. And if you want to go and see that video, where actually I have discussed the difference between connectives, conjunctions, and discourse markers, you can definitely find them on my YouTube channel. And in the playlist made with the name of so you can find the difference between all three of them, but right now we're going to be targeting the connectives. And so without further ado, let's get started. Sorry, let me just check microphone. All right, it's working. Okay, so connectives are words or phrases used to connect ideas within a sentence, paragraph, or longer text. They help to create coherence and cohesion in the writing, guiding readers through the logical flow of the ideas. So, let's explore it together. So generally, if I want to, explain you, like I said, that this could be definitely used in different kind of discourses all along the way. And what does it provides you? How does it helps you when it comes to spoken English or written English? Actually, they help you to, let's say, it actually brings kind of a logic to what you're saying. You can definitely speak without them, or maybe using very simple terms like and, or, nor. But if you actually try a little bit more advanced, for instance, such as moreover, adding more to that, so it actually brings a little bit a formal touch to your English. A lot of, let's say, actually, whenever I teach my international students business English, so actually I emphasize on this very much, that it's better to use actually these kind of words, because they really help you to make you sound a little bit more formal, used in very official discourse. And of course, it brings a very good flow within what you're speaking. I wouldn't call fluency, because yet again, fluency is going to be a very basic level word that I'll be using right now. But let's call it a flow, a logical flow of ideas, perhaps. Because, if you want to add something in your sentence, or maybe if you want to contrast between two things, or maybe you want to talk about examples within whatever you are saying. So over there, it's much better to actually employ all of these different words rather than just hovering over very basic terminologies like and, or, so, yet, what's the deal, what I'm talking about, right? So the first one we're going to talk about is about adding. If you want to add things within your text, right? So over here, you can see these connectives add information or ideas. For example, it includes and, also, besides, furthermore, and moreover. Now, here's a quick example for you. John enjoys playing tennis, comma, and he's quite good at it, right? So you can make a couple of more sentences by using the conjunctions or connectives. For instance, you have also, besides, furthermore, moreover. And let's say I'm saying this thing on the record, take it as a disclaimer, that these are not the only words. If you can Google yourself, or maybe if you want to research or dive more deep into it, you can find even more list of words that can illustrate more about if you want to add something within your sentences. And like I told you, that I've already uploaded the video related to that, so you can definitely find something related to that over there as well in that other video that I was talking about. All right, guys, so coming to the next example is about cause and effect. So these connectives shows a cause and effect relationship between ideas. For example, includes because, since, as a result, consequently, and therefore. So for example, Sarah forgot her umbrella, so she got soaked in the rain. So you see, cause and effect. For instance, it's telling about a reason of something that happened, right? A reason behind an action that has taken place, or an effect, right? So it's kind of, let's say, much like a result situation where cause and effect, you get the result of thing, because, for instance, like because of this thing happened. Due to this thing happened. I cannot exactly say conditionals, because in conditionals we have, let's say, if. But yeah, more or less like conditionals, right? Now contrast. Now contrast is, for instance, like these connectives highlight difference between ideas, like, differences between ideas, not exactly similarities, but somewhat differences. For instance, here are some examples: but, yet, however, although, on the other hand, or we also use the word despite the fact, regardless of the situation, regardless, or given that, right? So the weather was cold, but we still enjoyed our hike. So there are multiple examples. There could be multiple sentences that you can explore on internet, and so much more. All right. Now let's talk about the emphasis. Now these connectives emphasize a point or an idea. For example, include a need or a fact, certainly and above all. For example, emphasis. Now, for instance, you want to say something and you want to emphasize that. All right. For example, in the end of the conversation, if I even want to, let's say, summarize or emphasize on some point, so I might just say, well, guys, above all, and then whatever I have to say means above all, I'm trying to highlight that. Or maybe indeed, in fact, certainly. So these are some of the, let's say, words or connectives, or I should call them discourse markers, that people usually use in their conversation. Well, speaking about us Pakistanis, so yeah, we don't use them very often because maybe we don't have the information that how they're used and about their function. So I hope that inshallah, after watching this video, you'll get a clear idea that what could be the actual purpose of these different connectives and where they could be plugged in. Okay, so now let's talk about the reason. So these connectives provide reasons or explanations for examples: because, since, as, for. So yeah, reasoning. So you see the reasoning one and the contrast one, or I should say, yeah, the reasoning one or the cause and effect one. So some of them are quite overlapping. So you might find a little bit difficult in comparing them, but you don't need to compare them. Let's not get into that, track. But it's just to give you a little bit example that when it comes to reason, when it comes to give some identification proofs of something, maybe this is something that you can, utilize. And actually, this will definitely have its own advanced vocabulary as well that you can definitely Google yourself. Okay, so these connectives provide reasons or explanations. Example include because, since, as, and for. Going further, Mary skipped the party because she wasn't feeling well. All right, very simple. Illustration, for instance, giving some examples, right? Now, this is something my favorite because I was a kind of a person who always used to say, for example, whenever I had to give any reason about something, or maybe about a kind of illustration or any kind of, let's say, a subject. So that was always the main go-to word, basic let's say, terminology that I always personally used to use. But now I have actually changed that with for instance or such as.